Welcome back to another episode of the Moms Making Money podcast and YouTube videos. I am your host, Marli Klaus, and today we are going to be talking about something that affects so many of us in the postpartum support field, and that is burnout. Whether you are a sleep consultant, newborn care specialist, or parent coach, this episode is going to give you practical strategies to build a sustainable business without sacrificing your well-being. So let's be honest, many of us get into this field because we genuinely care about supporting families. We are passionate about making a difference in parents' lives during some of the most vulnerable moments. That passion is beautiful, but it can also set us up for burnout if we are not careful about how we structure our businesses and how we set our boundaries. As somebody who has built 3 successful businesses and supported hundreds of students in doing the same, I have seen firsthand how burnout can derail even the most passionate and skilled professionals in the space. But I've also seen how the right strategies and mindset shifts can create a thriving business that energizes you rather than depletes you. So let's talk about why postpartum professionals are particularly vulnerable to burnout, and then I will share some strategies that can help to prevent that. So first, our work is inherently emotional. We are supporting families during intense transitions and challenges. We witness their struggles, their vulnerabilities, their tears of both frustration and joy. This emotional labor is real work, even though it doesn't always get recognized as such. When we are constantly holding space for others' big feelings, it can take a toll on our own emotional reserves. Second, the nature of our work often involves unusual hours. Sleep consultants may be balancing their business and client work with another full-time job, which requires them to fit in the work wherever they can during the day or night. Newborn care specialists often work overnight shifts or 24-hour shifts. Parent coaches may need to accommodate to parent schedules after their work days. These hours can disrupt our own sleep and self-care routines if we are not intentional about protecting them. Third, many postpartum professionals are also parents themselves, often with young children at home. This means that you might be balancing the emotional needs of your clients with the emotional and physical demands of your own family, and that is a lot to deal with. And finally, as business owners, we are not just doing the client-facing work. We are also handling marketing, bookkeeping, scheduling, client communication, continuing education, and a dozen other tasks. Wearing all of these hats simultaneously can lead to overwhelm and burnout. But here is the good news. Burnout is not inevitable. Of course, you may face it at certain times during your business, but with the right strategies and boundaries, you can build a sustainable business that allows you to support families while also honoring your own well-being. So let's go ahead and dig into how you can make this happen. The first and most important aspect of preventing burnout is setting clear, firm boundaries and then actually sticking to them. I know that it can feel scary to set boundaries, especially when you're first starting out and you are eager to please clients and to build your reputation. But trust me when I say that boundaries are not just good for you, they are actually good for your clients too. As a sleep consultant, parent coach, or newborn care specialist, you need to decide what your availability looks like. When will you respond to client messages? When will you be completely off the clock? How quickly can clients expect a response from you? Families may expect responses around the clock. After all, sleep challenges happen at 2 a.m., but that does not mean that you have to provide responses around the clock. This is where the power of boundaries comes in, and it's something that we teach extensively in our program. You get to decide what that looks like for you and what makes sense for you from a schedule perspective. Many of our graduates have super strict boundaries around response time, and they will commit to responding only every 4 or 6 hours during daytime hours only. Others have a more flexible response time where they may check in more frequently, and then even others have an even more strict response time where they don't work weekends and they don't work evenings at all. They are strictly 9 to 5 sleep consultants, and their businesses are thriving that way. What it comes down to is communicating that to clients and being upfront with them about what to expect from your response time. and then going on to actually uphold that boundary and ensuring that you respect your own boundaries so that they understand that they have to as well. When I first started in this industry, I thought that I needed to be available 24/7 to be successful. I was answering texts at midnight and emails during my son's soccer games. I was completely exhausted and on the verge of burnout within 3 months. That is when I realized I needed a complete system overhaul. One practical tip that I recommend to all of our students is having a dedicated communication app that they use versus using their actual cell phone number when communicating with clients. This allows them to turn off notifications without having to stop the rest of their life that exists on their phone. Apps like Voxer, WhatsApp, or even specialized client management systems like Sleep Nest enable them to draw clear boundaries and not feel the pressure to respond when they are getting these notifications coming in. You can simply close the app and mute notifications, and you can take your time off without that pressure of responding. I've had graduates tell me that this one tip alone transformed their business experience. One of our consultants, Lindsay, shared with me that before implementing this strategy, she felt tied to her phone constantly because she didn't want to turn off all notifications on her phone whenever she wanted time away from her business. Now she checks her client app 3 specific times during the day, and her clients actually appreciate that they have predictable response windows. So another critical aspect of preventing burnout is ensuring that your work schedule aligns with your energy levels and your life circumstances. One of the beautiful things about owning your own business is the flexibility to design your schedule, and many new business owners don't actually take advantage of this flexibility. Instead of defaulting to what you think business should look like, get really honest about when you do your best work, what hours make sense with your family situation, and how many clients you can realistically support while maintaining your well-being. Some of our graduates work intensively for 3 weeks, then take a 4th week off every month. Others work shorter days year-round, but take extended breaks during school holidays. Some batch their content intakes to specific months, or some batch their client intakes to specific months or weeks that work better for their family schedules. One of our graduates, Jessica, structures her business around her husband's rotating shift schedule. When he is working nights, she takes on more clients. When he's on days, she scales back to be more present when the whole family is home together. She has created a rhythm that works perfect for her unique situation. This kind of customization simply is not possible in most careers. But as a sleep consultant, parent coach, or newborn care specialist, you are truly the architect of your own schedule. Take advantage of that flexibility to create a sustainable rhythm that works for your life. As an example, I made the decision that this summer I will not be having my kids in full-time childcare for the first time ever. This is huge for me and for my kids. I am creating a plan for myself to ensure that I'm able to stay on top of my business and fulfill my commitments to my existing students while still being present for my children during the summer. I want them to have me there during this really fun and exciting time of their lives where summer revolves around family adventures and making memories. As they get older, they're not going to want to spend as much time with me, and it will be much more about their friends and them doing other stuff. So I want to take advantage of this time, and I'm able to structure my business in a way that allows me to do that. And here's the beautiful part. That flexibility doesn't come at the expense of the profitability of my business or take away from my ability to serve my clients at the highest level. It simply means that my working schedule will look quite different this summer than it does during the school year, and that I have to put in the effort to do a lot of pre-planning and creating leading up to this schedule shift. Another key strategy for preventing burnout is to create systems and processes that make your business run more efficiently. Whenever you are first starting out, you might be handling everything manually and reinventing the wheel with every new client. But as you grow, having streamlined systems will save you significant time and mental energy. This includes having a clear onboarding process for new clients, templates for common emails and messages, a library of resources that you can share with clients for common situations or common questions, automated scheduling tools, a customer relationship management system like a CRM that will allow you to keep track of client information, and standard operating procedures for each phase of your client journey. These systems not only make your business more efficient, but they also create a more professional and consistent experience for your clients, which of course is a win-win. One of my favorite tools for sleep consultants, parent coaches, and newborn care specialists is Dubsado. Honeybook is also a great option, and these platforms allow you to automate so many of the administrative tasks in your business, from sending contracts and invoices to scheduling sessions and follow-ups with clients. This automation frees up your time and mental energy for the work that only you can do, which is the actual coaching and consulting with families. Another aspect of preventing burnout is pricing your services appropriately. This is something that may seem unrelated to burnout, and it's probably something you haven't really heard talked about a lot in relation to burnout, but it is actually so deeply connected. When you undercharge for your services, you often need to take on more clients than what is sustainable for you to make ends meet. This leads to overwork and resentment, which is a classic precursor to burnout. Many new sleep consultants, parent coaches, and newborn care specialists undercharge significantly because they don't fully value their expertise and the transformation that they provide. They feel uncomfortable charging what seems like a lot to struggling parents. They see lower prices as a way to compete in a crowded market, or they don't factor in all of the behind the scenes work that goes into every client. But here's the truth. When you undercharge, you are not doing yourself or your clients any favors. You cannot show up as your best self whenever you are overworked and resentful about your compensation. And clients actually value your services more when your prices reflect the true worth of the transformation that you provide. At the Cradle Coach Academy, we help our students understand how to price their services based on the value that they provide, not just on the hours that they work. This shift in mindset from hourly thinking to value-based pricing is game-changing for preventing burnout while also building a profitable business. Another crucial strategy is to build a support network of like-minded professionals. Running a business can be so isolating, especially in a field where you are working directly with families rather than in a workplace with colleagues. Having a community of other sleep consultants, parent coaches, or newborn care specialists who understand your unique challenges is invaluable. This is one of the most valuable aspects of joining a program like ours. You will have a group of like-minded women who understand exactly what you're going through and can offer support, encouragement, and real-world advice. And that is absolutely priceless. In our private community, you can ask questions like, hey, has anybody worked with a family where the parents completely disagree on sleep approaches? Or how do you handle it when you're feeling emotionally drained after a particularly challenging client? Or what is your go-to response when a client asks you to be available outside of your stated hours? And you can get answers from people who are actually doing this work successfully and doing it on a regular basis. This community support isn't just nice to have, it is a genuine prevention tool for burnout. When you have people who understand your challenges and can remind you that what you are experiencing is normal, it is much easier to maintain perspective and not take setbacks personally. So now let's talk about the importance of rest and recovery, especially for those of you who are working unusual hours. If you are a newborn care specialist working overnight shifts or 24-hour shifts, or if you are a sleep consultant whose clients are reaching out during nighttime sleep challenges, then protecting your own rest becomes even more critical. If you do not get adequate rest time, you are not going to be able to sustain this business long term. Period. Your well-being is not optional. It is essential to your ability to serve families effectively. This means being intentional about creating marketing-free periods for full rest. Designate specific times where you will be completely offline from your business. Turn off notifications during sleep and recovery time. I literally have my phone set where it automatically turns into do not disturb mode from 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. the next morning every single day. Obviously, that will differ for you based on your shifts and when you sleep. But that has been the only way that I've allowed myself to actually get true rest time, because if not, I would be paying attention to every single message that came in, whether it was business related or personal related. So communicate your availability very clearly to all potential clients and do not feel pressure to respond immediately to every single inquiry. Remember, if somebody is expecting 24/7 availability from you, they're probably not going to be a great client anyway. The families who respect your boundaries and professional practices are the ones who you want to work with. Another practical strategy is to leverage seasonality in your business. During times where you naturally have fewer clients, use that slower period to get administrative and marketing work done. Then when you have peak demand times and you're busier with client work, you can scale back on those other tasks. For example, many sleep consultants will see increased demand in January whenever families are motivated to make changes for the new year, and again in September when kids go back to school and families want to establish better routines. If you know that these are your busy seasons, you can prepare by creating content, updating your website, and handling administrative tasks during the quieter months. This approach prevents the overwhelm that comes from trying to do everything all the time. Instead, you are working with the natural rhythms and energy levels. Quality control is another important aspect of preventing burnout that doesn't get talked about enough. Not every potential client is going to be a good fit for you, and learning to identify red flags early on can save you significant stress and energy. Some red flags include clients who don't respect your stated boundaries during the consultation process, families who seem to be looking for someone to blame rather than someone to help, parents who have unrealistic expectations about timelines or outcomes, and clients who are clearly not ready to make changes that are going to be necessary for success. As you build your client base, you will feel more comfortable turning down clients who are not the right fit and focusing on finding those who are. Remember, saying no to the wrong client makes space for the right clients to find you. This gets easier with time, I promise. When I first started, I took on every single client who wanted to work with me because I was afraid to turn anyone away. But I quickly learned that working with families who were not a good fit was draining for everyone involved. Now I am much more selective and my business is more profitable and enjoyable as a result. So now let's talk about creating marketing boundaries to prevent burnout. Many new business owners feel like they have to be on all the time, constantly creating new content, responding to comments, networking, and promoting their services. This is an absolute recipe for burnout. Instead, create specific blocks of time for marketing activities and then step away from them. Dedicate specific blocks of time, perhaps between clients, to create multiple pieces of marketing content at once. You can create 10 to 15 social media posts in one sitting, record several short videos in the same session, or prepare seasonal email newsletters in advance. Use technology to maintain a consistent presence even during intensive work periods. Schedule social media posts using platforms like Hootsuite, Later, or Meta Business Suite. Set up an email marketing system that has pre-scheduled newsletters. Use chatbots on your website to capture leads whenever you're not available. Focus on high return marketing activities rather than trying to do everything. Not all marketing activities are equally valuable, so prioritize those that are giving you the best return on investment. As I've mentioned many times, cultivating relationships is going to be key, and those are going to give you the best return on investment when it comes to time. I talked to a student earlier today who was asking me if I recommended spending more time on social media or spending more time connecting with professionals in her area. And hands down, I told her building relationships with people in your area is going to pay off tenfold in comparison to being on social media. Remember that one excellent post or email is always going to beat daily mediocre content. Consistent, predictable communication trumps sporadic, intensive campaigns. Focus on nurturing existing relationships rather than constantly seeking out new leads. Both are super important, but if you're not nurturing those that you've already brought in, then there's no point in bringing in more people. Set realistic expectations for yourself and consider quality over quantity in everything that you do. Creating marketing boundaries by designating specific marketing-free periods for full rest is super important. Lastly, let's talk about measuring what is actually working so that you can focus your precious time and energy on the activities that truly move your business forward. Ask new clients where they found you, monitor which social posts are generating the most engagement, track your website traffic sources, note which referral partners are consistently sending clients, and document which types of content are generating inquiries. That data is going to help you understand where you should focus your time and efforts and where you might be wasting time. If you find that you're never getting clients from Instagram, but you are consistently getting referrals from your pediatrician partnerships, that tells you where to invest your energy. Above all, remember that sustainable business building as a postpartum professional is about consistency and quality, not volume. Your time is precious. You are balancing intensive care work with business development, so a thoughtful, systematic approach will serve you far better than sporadic, exhausting efforts. The most successful sleep consultants, parent coaches, and newborn care specialists that I know have created systems that respect their unique schedule and energy levels while still maintaining a steady pipeline of ideal clients. With the right approach, you can build a thriving business without sacrificing the quality of care that you provide or your own well-being. So the key takeaway and overall theme of this entire episode is that preventing burnout is not selfish. It is actually the most generous thing that you can do for the families that you serve. When you are well rested, energized, and passionate about your work, you show up as your best self every single time, every single client. When you are burned out and resentful, everybody suffers. So I want you to think about boundary setting, rest, and self-care not as luxuries, but as essential business practices. They are as important as your sleep education, your client communication skills, or your marketing efforts. If you are currently feeling overwhelmed on the path to burnout, I want you to pick one strategy from today's episode and implement it this week. Maybe it is setting up a dedicated communication app for clients. Maybe it is establishing a cutoff time for each workday, or maybe it's scheduling your first real day off in months. Start small, but start somewhere. Your future self and your future clients are going to thank you for it. Remember that you got into this work, or you are getting into this work to help families thrive. Make sure that you are creating a business structure that allows you to thrive as well. If you are ready to learn more about building a sustainable sleep consulting business with proper support and mentorship, head on over to our website where you can schedule a call with me to discuss if the Cradle Coach Academy is the right fit for you. Until next time, I want to remind you that taking care of yourself is not just good self-care, it is good business. Thank you so much for being here and for listening to this episode, and I will see you next week. Whether you are listening to this while sitting in school pickup line, while taking care of your kiddos, while you were supposed to be working, or whatever else, I don't take it lightly that you took the time out of your day to do so. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. We are on a mission to help as many moms as possible with finding time freedom. And it really helps us out if you hit that subscribe or follow button and write a review to get it in front of more women who need it. And again, if you are ready to stop the hustle and you want to have more time freedom, head on over to thecradlecoachacademy.com/workshop to join our next live workshop. Until then, I will see you here next time.